every Monday night from about 7 to 9 o'clock to talk about our heritage as a people, law, economics, health. In that order, we're usually having a discussion. So you're welcome to invite your family, your friends out. And if you can't come out, if you get one of our leaflets or our flyers, we do live stream the classes so that you can watch those at home. All right? And they're recorded so you can go back and look at old classes. I am Dr. Ali Muhammad. I'm the current chief of the Aboriginal Republic of North America and the International Indigenous Society. And again, tonight we're here to discuss one of our 4 subjects. Tonight will be a discussion of law. A few announcements. For those of you who are new to our environment, every year we operate a summit. And the summit is dedicated to indigenous peoples of Africa and the Americas to highlight the problems that we're having. And this year, on August 29th, 30th and 31st, we'll be doing the summit here in New York. The 29th, we have reserved space at the United Nations to do a press conference and a dinner. The 30th and the 31st will be here right now. You can get your tickets from Asim. Asim, can you raise your hand so everybody can see you? The tickets are to help us reserve this space and reserve that space. We had a conference room at the UN, but just today, I changed it to get the delegates dining room because we wanted to use that as a further fundraiser to do some other activities to address the 69th General Assembly, which starts around September 17th. And the idea that I have in my mind now is to do a march at the UN to address the 2 issues that are most needed to address this subject that the brothers just started, which are statehood, nationality, and reparations. And to do it in a way probably that you've never heard it. Because most of our people, unfortunately, when they hear the word reparations, they think somebody is begging for something. And that's because they haven't had a mature discussion, or they don't even know how to put it in context because of the lack of knowledge of their own experience as a people that has led us up to this day. So this class is designed to give you very specific things that you might not get anywhere else in the country in regards to your history or the political status or what is actually occurring from a less emotive standpoint to a more mature standpoint. We started out last week discussing our discussion on reparations by saying that, well, I'll start this. We went to a conference. I've said this several times with the security. We went to a conference at the Hyatt downtown. And the conference was a conference about taking back America. And there were congressmen there were business leaders, investment people talking about the elections for this year, House and Senate elections, and then 2016, and the discussion was on taking back America. And we were the only original people, indigenous peoples in the room. The other people were, Europeans or of European descent, calling themselves Americans. And what struck me about the conference is, the conference was about saving Western civilization. Saving Western civilization. And Western civilization was defined by these right-wingers as the United States as a political jurisdiction, Israel as a political jurisdiction, the political jurisdictions of Europe, and Christianity and Judaism. So, those people in that room, of course, they're not speaking for you. All right? And I wonder, what do they mean save the U.S., Israel, and Europe when they're causing all the goddamn problems? Who are they going to get saved from? Who is attacking America? Their cousin? Bin Laden? I don't think so. Who's attacking Israel? Hamas is attacking Israel. Okay. Yeah, right. Who's attacking Europe? Nobody. Our point in this class is very challenging to most of our people, because despite the fact that all of us have our own personal issues, sins, transgressions, or whatever, we start talking about societal and geopolitical events on this planet, the only people who are causing problems are the people who are from Europe or who are Europeans in other jurisdictions. Nobody else is causing problems. Nobody else is causing problems. Nobody else even has the resources to cause the geopolitical problems that we can describe specifically that affect you. As a matter of fact, the only reason I'm bringing the context of Western civilization being discussed at that particular event that I'm talking about is because right now, you can go to what we call in Israel, the Middle East, and there's skirmishes going on. They've been going on since 1947, all right? Or 1945, all right? But Jewish people, if you ask the average person, you can ask a person in here, do they deserve some type of repair for what happened to them in Germany? Now the average person is going to say yes. You might get 85 to 90% of the people who answer that question, of course. Some people might say it didn't happen, you get all kinds of comments. I'm not here to talk about whether it happened or not, or any of that. I'm just saying the mental consensus on the planet is that it deserves some type of reparations for what Nazi Germany did to them. Now, if I juxtapose that same question to the average African American, do African Americans deserve some type of repair for what occurred with them? It's a lot of shaky responses. And there's a lot of questions. Where's the money going to come from? That's old. A lot of responses. But the ironic thing is that we know these events have occurred and happened to us. We know there's never been any apologies or reparations necessarily in the way that it would be formidable. And what you might not know is that you pay for not only reparations, but appropriations to nations all across the planet. So although Jews went through their Holocaust in Germany, you pay for it. Pay taxes, sales taxes, state, local, federal taxes, property taxes. All those taxes you pay, your money from your black pocket goes to the appropriations that Congress makes for millions of dollars for the Jewish Holocaust museums and to support the Israeli army and other things going on the planet. So don't ask me where the money is coming from. It's a very simple thing. The issue is indigenous people are not respected. And there's societal influences that have reached over, that have been a part of a social mental plot to induce that type of mentality for us to have towards each other and for others to have towards us, where our life is worth less in the minds of people either consciously or subconsciously. And all you need is a set of circumstances to come up to test that, and it will come out. Every time, like clockwork. So, rarely do you see a Jewish woman or a Jewish man get shot 41 times by the police. As a matter of fact, I don't think you can find one in history. Go find it. They get in skirmishes and stuff with the police too, but you won't find a Troy Davis. You won't find what I'm about to show you right now that happened to a young man just July 17th. Who was killed by the police. On that same day, I was attacked by the police and beat ferociously. Good thing I ate right. No, I'll be in a cast somewhere. And I trained. So I'm going to show you this video. Start the class off with a video of a brother who was killed on Thursday in Staten Island by police. Now, I'm not anti-police. What I am is anti-people who are not human. And let me define what human is. To be human is to be civilized. to have a set of principles that guides you to be a peaceful person. To use discretion so that you don't have the desire to injure others, nor do you want to be injured. And you don't have to be any biological type to have that necessarily. Alright? There does appear in history to be a proclivity of pale European nations to have more violence for some reason. But we're not here to explore that today, necessarily. But we are here to say they're great police and they're wicked police. But the police establishment itself is a parasitic entity created by bondholders so that they could service the manipulation of fear and resources from the people. That's it. That's what they do. Now, if somebody needs a job, somebody needs a job. You understand? But I'm saying the creation of the entity and what it serves has to be looked at by the people, or else you will be addressing emotional concerns. And you should have. The fact is, crime is necessary to operate government because it pays the bills. No crime, no district attorney office. No district attorney office, no city, no township, no municipality, no nothing. So any politician that's telling you that they want to lower the crime is lying. If they understand budgetary processes in a municipality. Why would they want to lower crime when it's going to cost more for them to pay back their bondholders and they'll go in default? No, they need more crime. And the plot is to prey on the structures amongst the people that are weakest, and what weaker structure to play on than the people who have been enslaved, lost their nationality, lost their identity, lost their family structures, are on drugs, or have been so seasoned by this democratic demonic system that they don't know how to employ the principles that they used to employ to secure safety for themselves. They just don't know. So when you see our people acting out, you say, we need to do better. The truth is, we don't know how to do better. Now you think you're grown, and you say, brother, don't talk to me like that, I'm an adult. But if you can't get behind this mic and explain municipal structure and how it is pre-designed and preset to steal from people, please be quiet. And just take an ear and listen. Because we may be able to help you understand the mathematical fallout of what comes out of this system. It is a preset mathematical equation to get a result. And it's getting the results by the people who designed it. So ask yourself, how many indigenous people you have amongst you who are actually even studying at that level to even come to you to have a conversation about it. Better yet, solve the problem. And if there are other people making benefit on it, you definitely know they're not even trying to solve the problem because they have invested interest in it going on. So the question is, who do we vote for? Obama or Hillary? Don't get it. You're not going to go to church to learn it. You're not going to go to the mosque and learn it. You're not going to go to the synagogue and learn it. And you damn near can't even go to the Pan-African meeting and learn it now. Damn near everything's been co-opted for a couple dollars. Because we haven't figured out how to do that ourselves. But in order for us to do that ourselves, we have to know that we are a resource. And we cannot be a resource if you still mad at your nappy hair. And it's so-called 2014. We're still having these discussions on whose hair is smooth and right and whose hair is nappy. Are we still having these discussions? Today? We're still having it. We're still having good hair, bad hair discussions. After all this time. So, what I'm saying to you is that if you look something like me, and you dress like this, rubber stamp on it. And the rubber stamp is, you must be up to something that's going to cause problems. And I'm going to approach you like that if I'm a politician, police officer, or even your own brother and sister. All right? So let's watch this video. I want you to listen to this video. This is our brother, Eric Garner. And he's gone right now, brothers and sisters. His wife is a widow. He's dead. You know what dead is, right? That means he's not here with us. No matter what you believe. If it was he's in the better place. All right? He's dead. He died Thursday because some officers wanted to mess with him about selling Lucy's, if he was selling Lucy's. And if the officers were human, they would ask him a question, all right? Go through their protocols and say, listen, this is what we do. What you're doing is illegal, but all these little ordinances and all these little things, this is a part of the trap. I'm pretty sure that if we go back far enough, we'll go back past the time where his family's name wasn't Garner. And he was probably somewhere in Africa or the Americas eating mangoes, chilling, with everything there for him, with all his resources. So now he's on the sidewalk selling Lucy's. He's trying to scrap up some change for his family to survive in this hell that they have created. So let's listen to what happened. Let's see if I can.
Business. The fight break out, stop. Yes. Don't say you can put it up on me.
That's all right.
The people that's fighting just walk away. Are you serious? I didn't do nothing. What did I do?
Then before
What am I ID on me? Take me back for what? I didn't sell anything. I did nothing. We sitting here the whole time. Mind our business. What are you talking about? You watch me do what? Who did I sell cigarette to? To whom?
Not that rich. There's another guy.
Easy way or hard way for what? Every time you see me, you want to mess with me. I'm tired of it. It stops today.
This guy right here is forcibly trying to lock somebody up for breaking up a fight.
Everybody standing here, they told me I didn't do nothing. I did not sell nothing. Because every time you see me, you want to harass me, you want to stop me, trying to sell cigarettes. I'm minding my business, officer.
Everybody standing here said I ain't do nothing. So they could have said at that point, well, so-and-so said that you did. Here's the witness. They said that you didn't break up the fight and that you did sell her a Lucy. Because that's what you're supposed to do in the interrogation process. You're supposed to have probable cause to investigate and carry forth your investigation to arrive at some type of conclusion. So if they had a witness, they could have had the witness right there like, didn't you say? And he said, yeah, he sold me some Lucy's, he beat me up, he did something. It's just them talking to him. That's the key point. Every officer that approaches you is supposed to have probable cause. Now I'm going to tell you what they do. It's no probable cause. They just want to beat you up. Not all of them, but most of them.
I'm minding my business. Please just leave me alone. I told you the last time. Please just leave me alone. Please, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Hold on.
Don't touch me, please. Do not touch me. Damn.
Give your hand, buddy.
Put your hand behind your back. I can't breathe. 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 I can't breathe.
Once again, police beating up on people.
Back up.
Right here.
Back up, then get on that step.
Okay.
Back up.
All he did was break up a fight. And this is what happens for breaking up a fight. This crazy.
Everybody back up, back up.
He can't breathe. Look, now I mean, they gave this man a seizure.
Yo, move out the way. Yo.
It's my brother, we live here.
Back up this way. Everybody now back up. It's now going to become a crisis. Back it up. Back it up.
I'm going to my house.
This way. Let's go.
Can't go in my
house or that way?
Alright, I'll go that way.
Pick a choice.
Let me get my bike.
You had your chance to get your bike, sir. Staying over there right now. We have a scene.
He's just breaking up a fight. He's all right. He's good. It has nothing to do with the fight. It has something to do with something else.
This is not happening to anybody else but us. It's happening to us. It's not happening to anybody else. Next week, guess what? It'll be somebody else. It could have been me. On the same day, I was on the New Jersey Turnpike, coming off the New Jersey Turnpike, and officers pulled us over and asked me to step away from a particular position. I stepped away, honoring what they said. One grabbed me, I turned around and said, yo, why you grabbing me? And they just went at me. I just showed Skepper Kid Sue what my face looked like on Friday and Saturday. Same thing. They pepper sprayed me in both ears, both eyes. I just peeled off 2 webs of skin off my eyes so I could see. Literally, you can just come up here and see it. I'm going to heal fast because of my diet, right? But if you saw me out there, my face rolling in. It could have been peaceful. They could have said, well, we just want to ask you some questions. They didn't say nothing. They just jumped on me and beat me. Sprayed it in my ears, sprayed it in my mouth, sprayed it everywhere. Same knee in the back, same thing. They could have killed me. This is where my time to die yet. So it can happen to any of us. Yes, sir. Nobody is exempt. So y'all could have been in here watching a video on me. Or it might be you. You don't gotta do nothing. All you gotta do is walk down the street. Break up a fight. Go get the juice, go to the juice bar. You're a suspect. They're not down in Williamsburg doing that. Why don't you get any respect? Point number 1, you don't respect yourself. That's the first and most important one. You don't respect yourself. Check it out. Don't get mad because I say this. This is my opinion now. I don't think black people know how to respect themselves. In order to respect yourself, you have to have enough knowledge about this situation to see what's actually happening. To generate the group respect. And there's too many things that other people get passes on. Right? So check it out. Let's say one of those officers were Jewish. Let's just say, in their Talmud, you cursed. Got it? In their Talmud, you cursed. You cursed son of Ham. So when he walks up to you on the street, he sees the cursed son of Ham in his mind. So what I'm saying is that there's a lot of societal influences that brought us to this point where our people get treated like this. What we have to do is stand up for ourselves. That's it. And the best way we can stand up, check this out, the best way we can stand up is to govern ourselves under our own government. That's the best way we can stand up. That's it. Not a rally, not a fundraiser. Those are what you do up under your own umbrella of your own jurisdiction. Because if we get the resources in place, and that brother is in our society, he can say, well, I'm calling my jurisdiction. If I injure someone in your jurisdiction, my reinforcements are on the way. Or are niggas scared? We can do it similarly. We can put it together right. We can take our steps to do it. But this is what I think. I just gotta start saying this. Because I've been doing this for a pretty long time. I'm young, but I've been doing this kind of stuff for a long time. For a real long time. Now my family say I'm doing it too for too long. You're afraid. You're afraid of what will happen. Because you don't know what will happen. Right? But you do know what is happening. What you got to lose? The comfort of HBO and Cinemax? Jail's uncomfortable. I've been in them. They're not comfortable. No one wants to be there. Of course, we want to stand up for ourselves and people, but no one wants to go to jail. What? If I got to go to jail or lose respect for myself, I'm going to jail. I'm opting out. I'm opting out. What are you going to do? What are you going to opt out? The idea that we're bringing to the people is this. We have enough intelligence now to begin to mobilize around the two most important issues. And these two most important issues solve all of the other substratums of issues. If we deal with the issue of our political status, nationality, and statehood, it puts us in a position, based on our own declaration, to have the structures to fund and operate everything based on our own will. That's it. It's a simple issue. Well, what if the United States don't want us to do it? So what? What do you have to lose? The track that we are on right now, please. The best of us who have homes where we are nurturing our children are still infected. Are still infected with the plague. And the reason why it's infected with the plague is because the strategy of the people who want to put you in this condition is greater than your strategy, even though you got a knowledge of self. Strategy means action. The actions are greater. So we need to change our actions. What does that look like? First, it looks like us in North America, specifically addressing the other nations of the earth of indigenous people in Africa, in the Caribbean, and the Americas, and saying, y'all need to recognize us as an independent state. Y'all owe us that, because we family. Right? So we talked about CARICOM last week, right? And we already started our processes to go to CARICOM, all 15 nations. All y'all need to recognize the Aboriginal Republic of North America as a unit for the indigenous people here who suffered genocide and denationalization. All of y'all. Why wouldn't y'all? So, we're going to write to you and see if you do it. And if you don't, we're going to put you on blast at the UN. Shit, we ain't got nothing else to do. Why wouldn't you want to recognize us as a people? ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States, who are working together to make sure that the West African states have some type of independence and autonomy, you should recognize us. Why wouldn't you? Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, Cuba, why wouldn't you? The question is, will we recognize ourselves as independent people? That's yet to be seen. But I do know this. These white folks got plans for you, homie, and you will not escape unless you put your plan together. All of them, everybody. Because when you find out what they really are, I said what? In this universe, at this time, what they represent for you as a challenge to continue on into your immortality, when you find out what they really represent, it's really nothing. If you put things in perspective. Oh, brother, why you gotta make it a race thing? I ain't saying nothing about race. I'm talking about the injury. How many people in here would want some reparations? Think it's good for you. All right. Let me tell you how it's supposed to be done. The first thing you're supposed to do is have a body politic that can speak for you. One. That body politic is supposed to have an electable structure. 2. It's supposed to have a constitution. 3. A right based on history to exist. 4. All right? Once those things are in place, you're supposed to start forming the institutions to govern yourself. And then you're supposed to go out to the people who caused the injury to highlight that the injury was unlawful. You can't do that as an African American because there's no ancient African Americans. You can do that as a Puerto Rican, there's no ancient Puerto Ricans. So you have to find out who you were and then address that issue. We've already done all that. All that's already done. Y'all ain't got to do no homework. We've been in the lab sweating for y'all for the last decade. With no pay. But the good thing is, the homework is already done. You don't have to do none of it. All you have to do is participate. That's it. Participation means become a national. It's free. It don't cost nothing. But you do have to invest in instruction. So we got dues, what, $30 a month, something like that? Basic constitutional dues to help us run something. Run the operations, pay for a summit, do stuff at the UN, organize these things. That's what that's for. Once, this is a law in the universe. Once we, a critical mass of us, show we have the will to stand up for ourselves, things will move in correct order. Because that is the law of Keper Joseph. You know what that is? Keper Joseph? Keper Joseph is the law of self-creation. The law of bringing things into existence and maintaining that particular order. Based on a principle of nature. And the principle of nature is your own self-identity and self-preservation. Because once you start loving yourself, that's it. It's on. Nobody got to ask you to show up for a meeting, to do this, to do that. You're going to do it because you love yourself and you recognize what self is. So we don't have to ask Al Sharpton. We don't have to ask Jesse Jackson. We don't have to ask Tavis Smiley if they don't want to be a part of it. We don't have to ask Mr. Farrakhan. We don't have to ask any of the popular people to do this. Because that's what we usually wait. We wait on somebody popular to have an event at Madison Square Garden. And we say, oh, walk out with our chitlins and we go home. To what? The same structures. So, sidebar, if you weren't here last week, stop using the word slavery. Stop using it. You're going to get caught in a trick. Right? The trick is, when you have a press conference or a meeting or a discussion on slavery, they're going to say everybody's been enslaved. And that's not even our discussion. The issue is, you're in a Holocaust. They don't want anybody but Jewish people to use that word. Because they understand the psychological implications of the word, and they also understand the legal implication of genocide. Anybody went to McDonald's today? You're in genocide. You don't even know. Anybody send their children to school to eat public lunch? You're in genocide. You don't even know. So now they've destroyed the ability for us to keep our gene codes together. And are manipulating them intentionally, and we can show you they're manipulating. Anybody got some grease in their hair? That special grease from Jet Magazine that you saw? Or that you ordered from Whole Foods or anything? They're manipulating. Don't you know that there's human pheromones put in these particular things to trigger certain things in your brain? So now you don't know, you're a man, you don't know why you're attracted to another man. Because your pheromone structure is not strong enough, or your endocrine structure is not strong enough, because you're not eating appropriately. And with a weak endocrine system, once he has female pheromones in his hair from the grease that he put in, you're confused, and then you don't know that Monsanto and Procter & Gamble and these other people are sitting on the planet having a pool party with your lack of knowledge of yourself. That's the level that you're at right now. So cheeseburgers and gay activity do go together. You sound crazy. Break it down. You sound crazy. Eating tofu and soy goes together with the gay gene. You know what's a gay gene, right? Oh, brother, there's no gay gene. I watched Dr. Oz. They already had that question. And the gay gene is called aromatase. I'm just doing a sidebar now to show you how wicked these people are. What will aromatase do? Aromatase will allow men to start growing breasts. So instead of having a pectoral like you're supposed to have, how it's supposed to look, it starts leaning over a little bit. You start getting all kind of other urges.
Oh, man.
All these little psychological urges that you have to do weird stuff, that's biochemical manipulation. But we're open for it because if you don't have a government, you don't have a culture. So your culture, our culture would be democracy. And everything else wicked that they made up to make it. Because if we're not living by the law structures every day and our human energy is not being divested into ourselves, it's being diverted to somewhere else. Which means you're automatically a part of a parasitic paradigm. And everybody in this room is a part of a parasitic paradigm. We are striving to work our situation out, which says a lot about ourselves. We should give ourselves a round of applause. Actually, the fact that we are able to sit here and discuss these things. Now, up until this point, if you've heard me, if you disagree with something about what I said, that's cool. I don't have a problem with that. But you're not going to disagree with the psychology of the hate for black people. You're not going to disagree with it. It's too evident. Way too evident. So what do we do with police and judicial officers? What do we do with them? What do we do when they harass us? How do we solve the problem? We solve the problem by forming our own courts. First, have your own court or jural society. We have one. Why are you forming your own courts? You form your own courts so when you have disputes, you settle them in your own jurisdiction, amongst your own people. Because what's happening to us is, as soon as we have a dispute, we go into other people to solve the problem. Who are not a part of our jurisdiction or value system. So there are levels to this pathology. The level is, if two brothers have a dispute or husband and wife have a dispute, it should be settled in our society. If we don't have jails, we don't solve problems like that. There's no need to. Our nature should be, if we're living, moving in accord to being ourselves, should be to be problem solvers amongst ourselves. That's it. That's our nature. But if your wife got to call somebody else's wife who's not in society, who's in another jurisdiction, and she's saying, come out and have some drinks to solve the problem. And they go out and have drinks somewhere, and they get into something, and the police beat her up, now you got another problem. So now you have a cultural, spiritual, socio-political behavior disease that's all the same thing. And the decisions that we are making as a people, are not based on natural law. Now, I want to come to that before I get to this judicial judge and police thing, because that solves the problem totally. And I'm going to say some things right now that's going to upset some people. It's okay. I do that every lecture. Sometimes people don't come back. But I'm going to say it as diplomatically as I can. You cannot learn from white institutions to solve indigenous people's problems. Period. Don't even come to me with all your damn degrees. I don't want to see you. Flush it down the toilet, because you're dumb as hell. As soon as I ask you to solve a problem with yourself, you get confused. You can learn skill sets, masonry, ironworking, carpentry, good, that's trades, electricians, you know, other stuff, security, all that, yeah. But don't come to me telling me you want to be a doctor. That's fine, go ahead, go over there and be a doctor. Your job is to kill people. Which means you have no morality about what you want to exude as far as your potential as a human being. Or maybe you don't even know that. Maybe you need to be sat down and see that every drug that you have is composed of human flesh or animal flesh, which means you're a cannibal. These are principles that are tearing down this, which is the only thing you have to exist here. So if it's destroying this, you're out of order. So don't come to me with don't come to me with your degrees from European or non-indigenous institutions. Because in the world that we are constructing and have been constructing for our people, they don't really help. Next, if we come here to do things with ideology and to transform our people, they have to be real. Real things. As soon as somebody mentions God, everybody passes out. I'm not an atheist in the sense of how they are. I give credence to a creator and reality in this universe. And I know that there's a power and force here that has constructed absolute principles and rules and cause and effect in this universe. Everybody's personal belief is their personal belief because it's belief. And you have a right to your belief. But when we come together, if you have these foreign ideologies in your mind, you're already a problem. Waiting to hatch itself. Because the imprints on your consciousness about what is real and what is not is based on belief. I'll give you an example. If, let's say you're Muslim, right? I'm a Muslim, but I don't advocate non-indigenous Islamic history. So, you might believe that Prophet Muhammad had a wife at 9 years old, like the Arabs rewrote the history and said. So, in your mind, if the greatest person that you know besides the Creator had that construct going on, don't tell me you would participate in it. Y'all follow what I'm saying to you? So now, check this out. If you have your right mind, and somebody wants to marry your daughter, let's say you got your right mind, and somebody comes along, they want to marry your daughter, and they have that kind of construct going on with them, you have to be able to identify that as a problem. As a construct. Because what would a 52-year-old man do with a 9-year-old woman? So let me show you how spooky people are. For those of you who study more science, when I highlighted that Noble Drew Ali was 43 years old, and he was messing with a 14-year-old woman, and it's on the records in the newspaper, and by their own admissions, all y'all call me a war hater. Right? As a matter of fact, I was on a radio show with someone, and this wasn't even the discussion. We were discussing some other things. Somebody brought it up just to shoot a pin at me. Ding. It was King Noble and another brother. What's this brother's name? Kadar. I can mention these things, but these things are in the public. Now, they started shooting at me and saying I have a Eurocentric mindset about our past because in our past we did those types of things. I'm not for just because our ancestors did it is right. Everything needs to be scrutinized. But my point to them was, anybody in here 40, 45? If somebody brought you a 14-year-old woman, what would you? That's your daughter, nigga! That's your daughter! That's not your wife! So if you have that mentality, something's wrong with you. Hell, you could probably build skyscrapers and do something else that's great. But we still have to point out the issue and highlight it as something that's problematic for the good of the whole group. Now, I was told that those two brothers were into that particular thing.
Oh, no.
And I have no proof of it, so I'm not going to accuse them of it, but it was said by multiple parties that those people were into those types of things. So, if that were true, it would make sense why they were trying to defend it, because we try to defend what we are guilty of. You know? That secret that you have in you, that you're angry about, and somebody else, they could be talking about somebody else and have nothing to do with you. Is this still on? Have nothing to do with you. And you get upset. How Malcolm said, the only one that hollers when a rock is thrown in the crowd is the one who got hit. So what I'm saying to us is, we have to be more emotionally aware of our dysfunction. And when someone plugs those things and they come out, that's the effect of a resonating cause that's sitting there that we are cosmically guilty of in our own consciousness. You follow me? So that's where the real court takes place at. I'm trying to take you to a level of understanding how human beings can exist in peace amongst one another. It's first when they're honest. But we live in a society where the constructs are put so we are forced into being dishonest with ourselves, right? And dishonest with others. Because we live in this place where we can't live out our nature. We live in democracy and Christianity and stuff that was imposed upon us. So in a natural law government, the people are supposed to have a human bond to one another. A bond. Respect, all of it. That is generated by living the life of peace and natural laws yourself. You can't fake it and then try to go out and do great things with groups of people who are cosmically sick. Because it's always going to lead to what? Crabs in the barrel, niggas always tearing each other down, blah, 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 blah. Well, how come white folks ain't doing it? Because their nature is evil and they're very good at it. And they're very successful at evil. Watch them. You might disagree, oh, their nature is not evil. All of our natures are evil. No, white folks' nature is evil. If they do good, let's give them a round of applause. And this is why they went around the planet and done what they've done. Now, I'm not doing this to shade them. I'm doing this to give us a picture of what should go on inside of our own minds about how we deal with what's going on in here. Because ultimately, brothers and sisters, if you want to be successful in your own life, you're going to have to learn how to step through the nigger traps to get goals accomplished amongst your people while your people are trying to heal or not trying to heal, regressing. You're going to have to learn how to step through the nigger traps. If I didn't know how to step through nigger traps, I'd be dead. Literally. Doing the things that I do and having to live the life that I've lived over the last decade. I'd be dead. Stressed out. Lost my mind. So, what I'm trying to get over to you is natural law is real. Alright? We live in a universe of cause and effect. If you have poor perceptions of yourself based on what happened to you, you need to heal from those injuries. And you heal from those injuries through communication with people that love you so that you can get a better perception of yourself. And if you want to know why things happen, it's because one, they're possible, and two, environments have been constructed for them to happen. So there is no coincidence. Oh, why did the child get hit by the bus? Because the driver was drunk. Drinking is legal in society. We ride buses because we don't have a better alternative form of transportation, and it feeds bondholders because they are contracted to the city to run SEPTA and New York Transit, and the shit is all out of mathematical order. So you're going to get the crazy shit that goes on. That's a construct. It's an equation. It's mathematics. Don't ask me why the child got hit. God damn it. We live in America. So I ain't gonna get hit tomorrow. Something that you think God is doing. Oh, God, give the child. Please, stop. It's crazy. It's insane. It's insane. We live in a universe of cause and effect. Start there, right? Climb your way up into that type of mindset to understand what's really going on in this planet. All right? And these constant lessons that we're going through individually as a group, it's time for us to mature and understand them from a different level. The way that you understand them is, output, input, cause and effect. You eat the cheeseburger, you know what's going to happen. Don't call me in the middle of the night saying, how did I get colon cancer? We already know. I'll explain it to you, I have no problem. But I don't believe you. Okay, have a nice day. Go to the hospital. Go get cut. Go feel the pain. Then go be a vegan for 7 days and then go back to the cheeseburger. You understand? You're irresponsible. You follow me? We're irresponsible. You actually, look, check it out. People actually think that they can cheat in this universe. You can cheat. The white man didn't see me, I'm gonna run the stop sign. I'm gonna take this drink. My wife's not watching. There goes your liver. Follow me? There are laws in this universe. A government is supposed to understand those laws and model itself after that. Everything else is fake. So now go to the black community and look at all these bullshit ass leaders you got. Who all talk about white people. With a dressing of black icing on it. The soul of any one of us, man, woman, and child, that recognizes what's going on will automatically put our mindset in some type of autonomy. Automatically. As soon as you really wake up. If you're still bragging about what degrees you got from other people, you have no investment in those institutions, to compare yourself to your own brothers and sisters who went through the same thing, you're just a nigga. That's all. It's okay. But it doesn't make sense. So what I'm saying is, whether you're Jay-Z or whether you're John Doe, y'all all in the same boat. All in the same boat. Alright? So there's a way that we can work together. Our offer to our people is that we have a complete methodology to get ourselves into statehood. Once we do that and we communicate with our brothers and sisters, then we go tell the United States government, we don't have to ask for a non-tax liability. We already do that. That's a form of reparations. We can show all 60 million of our people how to do that without asking anybody. If you're paying $10,000 in taxes a year and there's 60 million of us, put those 4 zeros on the end of 60 million, how much money you got? Come on, mathematicians. How much money you got? You don't know? Thank you. Took that long? Gotta count 6 trillion. You can do a lot with $6 trillion off of one program. But ask me a question. How many people have been around and y'all seen who was alive when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was president? Besides, brother, I think he was alive. You was alive. Anybody? You was alive. Bam, you was alive. So y'all have seen everything. Y'all need to come up here and teach. Let me sit down. Y'all have seen a whole bunch of niggas come. Now tell me these niggas ain't front. Tell me. They got to be. They got to be front. I'm not downplaying myself, but why would a man like me in his 30s have to be the one to call for statehood with all these niggas that been all around the goddamn world? You mean to tell me you done visited 50 African nations and you ain't called for statehood yet? Nigga, who you working for? I want to check your pockets. Got something in there.
Yeah, out of my pocket.
Don't mind my little rant since this is your first time here. I'm just saying, there's no reason for us. Now let me break this down a little bit further on why we need our own government. Let me break this down, because some of us don't understand. If you continue to eat the food that you're eating, in 4 generations, you're going to be like the dinosaurs. You're going to be like the dinosaurs. You know what the dinosaurs are, right? I don't know if they were here or not, but there's a lot of talk about them. And allegedly, they went extinct. If you keep sending your children to school for 4 more generations, they're going to be erased. They won't be in school, they'll be in jail. Period. That will be their school. It's already going that way. If you continue to send your children to European institutions, they're going to continue to climb the fence and marry into other races and destroy their gene pool. Then you're going to be a combination. Or whatever these people are. Tiger Woods and all these people, you know what I mean? I'm not mad at what happened to you based on your mother and your father. What I'm saying, there should be a constitutional edit to marry into your own gene pool. It's true. And by nature anyway, the planet is going to return to black anyway. So I don't know what y'all are all upset about. Oh, white people already showing you what they want to be. Y'all mad at me. They're trying to look like us again. So, what I'm saying to you is, we need to understand the principles of science. Let me break this down a little bit further so you can get this, so you don't get confused. When we look at the problem on the planet, right? The best way to look at it, to understand it without getting confused, is to look at it like you look at the body, human body, right? So you got all these systems in the body. And what does the body want to do? The body has one goal, to exist, and to exist efficiently. So anything that comes into it is trying to use it to exist efficiently. Anything that is damaging it is trying to find a way to get rid of it so it can exist efficiently. So, if you're walking around in a melanated body, some cow's milk, right? As soon as you put the cow's milk into your body, if you watch it when they do it to children, what do the babies do? They cough it out. Alright? So, that is what you would call an allergic reaction. Right? Allergen. An antigenic reaction. Right. The reaction is coming, stimulated by the brain and the connection of the nerves that are connected to the tissues that are touching the milk. And sending a signal to the brain, and the brain is sending feedback back to the throat or wherever it is, stomach, whatever, get it up out of me. Find a way to get it out. Why? Because it is foreign to me. You got it? It's foreign. So the body can detect self from non-self. You got that? Not only can the body detect self from non-self, the earth can detect self from non-self. I'll tell you how the earth does it. You go get some Monsanto seeds and you try to plant it for generations, crop generations, which means you're going to recycle crop. You know what's going to happen? The land is going to dry out, right? Then you're going to start getting droughts in the area because there's a electrical and magnetic synchronization between the Earth's atmosphere and the Earth. So now the sky or the magnetic field and the Earth are all working together to solve the problem that you caused by putting some dumbass foreign seeds into the womb of the Earth. She don't want it, so she aborted those seeds. You follow me? So now you can go and do studies on soil sampling across the United States, and the soil is what? Deteriorating. No, the soil is not deteriorating. The soil is getting rid of what you did artificial to it by choking it out. The earth don't like what's not natural to it. So everything that's unnatural on the earth, in the earth, is trying to get rid of it right now. The sun is the same way. Anything in this solar system that doesn't belong, the sun ain't got to jump down and pull out billy clubs and 44 Glocks and 357s and arrest you. It just acts as itself. And if you come out into it, you put white folks out into that UVB radiation, the sun will tell you whether they belong here or not. So the universe has an automated immune system. Sun, stars, orbs, and the beings that come up out of the orbs. Follow me? You were engineered like that. That's your Bible and your goddamn Quran. What the hell are you doing looking at books and you don't study and you don't know nothing about nature? Translated by some people that hate you. What you gonna get out of it? Hate. Reckless behavior. So what I'm saying is, as I'm having my communication, and it's disturbing some of you, My communication is based on the heavens and the earth. What is yours based on? What is yours rooted in? What is yours rooted in? That's a question, an internal question of honesty. I said it, the sun don't like white people. You want me to break it down genetically for you? Tell you what gene to go study? That's deteriorating? All of them that's deteriorating? The sunburned cells, white folks know what I'm saying is true. Now ask yourself, God damn, if the sun don't like white people, what you look like white people all look like liking them? You don't have to be disrespectful to them and call them names, devils, or nothing like that. I ain't asking you to do that. I'm just saying, watch. Pay attention. And don't be praying for them. Because you're against God. God made the sun. Okay. A plus B equals C. So if the sun is causing, if the sun is exposing a mutation in the MC1R gene that's on every cell in their body, saying, I will burn your cell out because it's not a cell, it's nothing but a big ass fungus. If the sun is doing that, and we can identify what force gave rise to the sun that we're calling the creator, if the sun don't like white people, that means God don't like white people. That's why he prayed. Pray that we can change them back to black. If we can't do that, they're not going to be here. And if they're not going to be here permanently, then what are they? Oh, brother, I thought you was going to talk about court. I'm talking about cosmic court, nigga. Give me a minute. I'm getting to it. I know you want to hear about judges and bail and all that. I'm trying to teach you the real court. Because you're in jail and you're scared of them. And you're from an eternal people. What can you be scared of? You really can't even die. What are you afraid of? You think you can die because your mind is confined to your own personal self, and you don't know what self is. Because if you did, you would love your brother and sister enough to unite with them to do something good for yourself. Yeah, you would. But self is myself. What I want to do. This is what I feel like doing. Go ahead. But we need something we can do together. Right?
Sir.
So, if our people are possessed, we have to do the ritual of getting it out. Y'all saw the movie. Got to throw some holy water on them. Right? Throw the holy water on them. Why are you throwing the holy water on them? Because they're dehydrated. Dehydrated people are evil. Do you know that? You're prone to do something parasitic. You're just waiting to pounce on somebody. You're dehydrated. Alright? You're missing one of your ancestors. You want to talk about ancestral veneration? Don't give me no goddamn Orishas and tables and altars. You see how far we fell? Somebody gonna charge you $1,500 to teach you about nothing. Idols. And they don't mention one time, hey, go have a glass of water. Matter of fact, niggas pouring out libations and they are dehydrated. Damn, drink some of the water, brother. Call those spirits back. We're doing a bunch of crazy stuff, right? They pour libations because they lived around the river. It was symbolic of keeping the river intact because they was for commerce and they got the ships and all this stuff. You pouring, turn the faucet. What's more libations for? You need to save some water. Alright, so my point is, we do have problems with learning the mechanics of life. Because if you listen, If you're not being taught this from the time conception, in the womb of your mother, and when you come out, and you come out 17, and we come out 17 like we are going to be dysfunctional. But we become functionalists in a dysfunctional society, which means we look like we're functioning. It's okay. And we get comfortable in nothing. All right? So all we're saying is, you want to talk about government? Study yourself, study the human body. The human body teaches you how the government is supposed to be designed and operate functionally. There's no other study to study besides the universe itself. Got that? So, the body knows how to work together, right? The body knows how to work together. Check it out. The brain can send a signal to the liver to say do something, right? If the liver is healthy, the astrocyte cells on the outside can send a magnetic frequency back to the brain, and they can talk. In order for that to happen, the nerve has to be in place properly. Its tissues have to be constructed geometrically properly. All right? And as soon as you eat certain things that deteriorate structure, you can deteriorate that structure, so it disturbs the communication. So now you got an argument going on, right? Healthy cells don't argue. Healthy cells don't argue between each other. The only arguments that take place are between what we would call spores, between one another, and spores and cells. That would be the equivalent of an argument. How they are battling or communicating or sending signals to one another. You got me? So as soon as you find yourself in arguments, look for who is the parasite, or both, or many. If we can't get together and unify on certain principles, it just means we're sick. We need a fast. We need some cleansing going on. The temple, the mind. Then we can come together and we can do something. But you go to Africa right now, 55 nations, subtract 2. 53 nations are following the template from a bunch of viruses. Viruses. Walking viruses. They follow NATO, they follow African, they follow a whole bunch of other people. They're not following the things that could make them successful. And we're doing the same thing here. We're doing the same thing. So we got a choice. It's really not a choice, but we got what we could consider to be options. We can strive for improvement, or we can not strive for improvement. Now, how to deal with a judge or a police officer? First of all, let me say this. Depending on your level of intelligence at any given point, it can be easily calculated what you would do in any given situation, or the output of what will come out of a situation. And the wiser we get, the better we are informed about ourselves, the better decisions we make based on knowing ourselves and knowing what output we'll get. My example can be my own self. This weekend, when I got into the situation, I already knew what was going to happen at a certain point. When certain things start happening, I already knew. I look at mine, and I see certain things that could come up. I saw certain things that day. And then once a certain behavior came up, I said, wow, here it comes. So it's my subconscious mind, programming myself, knew when that officer touched me when I pulled away, I already knew what was going to happen. I know how they get. I didn't ask for it, but I know how they get. There was a great possibility for them to do that. And I wasn't throwing myself into this situation. You're just not going to put your hands on it. So you got to pump me, jump, and you don't have to do that. But I know I trained this, and I trained this. So I'm willing to roll the dice on my training that any situation white folks give me, I'll beat them. I'm willing to roll the dice on it. Because when we're not in that type of training, unfortunately, we might get a different output. So all I'm saying is be aware of yourself when you're getting into legal situations. First of all, if you don't have a nationality, you're dealing with limited remedy. Limited remedy in the sense of you're going to be using only the jurisdictional statutes, ordinances, and other things that have been written for you to get some temporary remedy. Cops beat you up, you're going to only probably do a Title 42 lawsuit, which is they acted under color of authority, they violated their oath, and they beat me up. Settlement, you win or you lose, based on the jury. That's great. Still some remedy. And even within that, the strategy of how to deal with, what do we call it? What's the word? Injunctionary relief. Injunctionary relief is you're not just asking for money, you're asking for something to happen so that those officers won't participate in that particular thing anymore, or they get fired. Oftentimes you see the lawsuit happen, this person get paid, this person family get paid, and you never see the families approach the real problem, which is why are these officers behaving like this anyway? But in order to do that, you have to have the institution and the people to deal with it. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. In my experience, what I learned this weekend is that the spray that they use, this pepper spray, they are inciting torture upon the people that they detain and they arrest, and they know it. That's what I learned. Let me break it down to you. Because this is just basic science class, and all my wife had to do was say a few things, and it made sense to me. And then I said, oh, I don't need to be trying to wash this off. It's going to burn like I need to use something else. But essentially, they sprayed the stuff all over my face. I had scabs on my eyes. All this stuff was going on. And I'm saying, once they moved me to another jail, they told me to take a shower. Right? So, in the one cell that I had, it was only hot water. That's what burned it. Because this pepper, what it does is it opens up the pores and exposes the nerves to either oxygen, and if you put water on it, it creates a little shock. It's like a wire. You know, put wire on the water, water on the wire, you know what's going to happen. Listen. So the solvent, which is an oil which they use, the chemist made it to open the pores to create the burn. So they know what's happening. But they don't write to the medics to say, well, this is what I've done, this is what your response should be. Because they don't have a response. They have some fake mist they spray on you that makes it burn more. Or, you know, the excessive levels that they use and stuff, it doesn't really do anything. So when I got to the shower at the other jail, I said, I got to use some water, so I turned it on cold, right? Eased it a little bit. Still burning, but it eased it because it closed the pores. Cold water closes the pores. You can clean whatever is off on the surface. Got it? All right. So when I got home, my hands were on fire. And I could take a lot of pain. But this pain, I had to keep looking at my hands because I thought my skin was coming off. Felt like, look at how you put your hand on something hot, like that, and you pull it off because it's so hot. That feeling just holding it on me. So that pain was so intense, I had to call the medics. And when they got there, we asked them, like, oh, what do y'all do for this? He's like, well, I don't know. We don't have a remedy for pepper spray. We just take you in and get out. I'll figure this out. So once Asasia looked it up, and she said, well, it's an oil. Bing! It's a lipid. It's an oil. I don't need to be putting water on it. I need to be putting another oil on it. So I went right into my refrigerator, right? And it had some palm oil. Put the palm oil. Palm oil is from a plant that comes from Africa. Put the palm oil on it. Stopped in 5 seconds. A little bit more olive oil. Stop. So now you have billions of dollars going into municipalities, townships, or whatever. They're spraying these people with OC2 spray, and they got this fake little mist that they spray on you and some sterile water that makes it hot. Then they go tell you to take a shower. They force you to take a shower when you go in. Torture! You're not telling me nothing about this is going to make this substance increase. You could cause permanent nerve damage to somebody, which has happened. I'm looking at the stuff online, people have died from this stuff. I damn near suffocated. So all I'm saying is that we need to know that. But look, people are usually so uninterested in it, not even thinking on that level, to help other people who are going to come after them, because they either after a fast check or something else, because they have the parasitic mindset, the same one of the people that injured them. You follow me? So no problems are getting solved. So we gotta have the mentality to solve problems before we can solve it. So I'm gonna put in an action to their Attorney General and something into an international court that they should stop using this particular thing, because the methodology that they employ from the moment they put on you to the time they get you incarcerated only scientifically increase the pain. And the sad purpose of it, which is also illegal, handcuffs and all that stuff is illegal. This is not law, this is little stuff that they do, police procedure. You already got guns, somebody else is walking around with it. And the average person is not just going to come open fire on you. They're doing this step by step to intensify fear in people who they detain and arrest. And if they're not doing it, if they say we're not doing it intentionally, you're doing it by default, because we can show scientifically that this is what is happening. You put water on pepper spray, it increases. So why are you forcing inmates or detainees to take a shower and not explaining to them, based on correct medical attention, that they could get nerve damage from these particular things? So all I'm saying is we have the Aboriginal Medical Association, so now we can write up an official report, submit it to the Attorney General, Inter-American Court of Justice, and bring it with us when we go to the UN. Because they're using this stuff on our people, predominantly. And what do we look like losing our eyes or our ears or our fingers because the officer made a mistake? And they want to cut you a check for $1.2 million to $3 million. So what? Punch that shit down and come on. My ear is worth way more than $1 million. I got 6 children to listen to. You gonna cut me a check for that? Some of us fall for that. So, process and procedure. When you're dealing with police, objectively, keep your calm. If they ask you to do something, follow their instructions if it's not to your detriment. Follow their instructions. Step over here, I need you to step away. Sure, no problem. That's sensible. Nobody's trying to be, we understand the dichotomy of what we're working with. But as soon as they start asking you to do things against, you got the right to stand for yourself. And when you're in the community, you can get some support. And make the community stronger so we can strengthen the support. Because what usually happens is people are out and they have no support. Something happens to them and they got to go hire an attorney. And from there it's usually over. Yeah. They want you to hire an attorney. So, if you have your nationality, you have the right to state who you are to an officer or a judge. And there's a procedural way to do that. We're doing this stuff at the UN so we can obfuscate having to even go to their courts unless we injure their property or obstruct something in their subject matter jurisdiction, which by law we have to honor and deal with that. But if we have our own online and local courts, all of our issues that we have, we can solve it amongst ourselves. Imagine that. Isn't that beautiful? That's a thought. God damn, y'all need to give a round of applause. Man, I gotta make y'all give a round of applause. We need that. How many times do we have disputes amongst ourselves where we have to go to the foreign venue to solve it? And it ends up costing you money, damages, in our own community. And we created a construct for it to be solved. We just got to have the will to love ourselves enough to do it. Now, when you go into these courts, you need to understand that documents must always precede you. You also need to understand that if you're going to use an attorney, you're in danger. If you have no legal expertise, no legal experience, you can try to consult one of us or do the best you can. But my position from this point on, generationally, is you must invest in some type of indigenous law institution or structure for the preservation of your race and your future, or you will lose. You will lose. You can solve these little problems, but the problems are just so magnified because of the construct of the system. You cannot solve gunshot wounds by putting band-aids on them. Can't do it. Now, Your Honor, sir, ma'am, whoever you are, you come into a court, never say you're not guilty. Not guilty means you're innocent of all charges. If you have your nationality, stay out of state courts unless you're trying to protect property or you're the claimant or the counterclaimant. And then you can move your cases by necessity to either a federal jurisdiction, have it recorded in our courts, and even move it to an international jurisdiction for some remedy, which at this point will be the Inter-American Court of Justice. Write it down, look it up. That's the remedy. Why? Because you're going to bring international issue to what's going on with you with support from a community. That's how we're supposed to respond. And we have the greatest ability because of media and our own creation of our own homemade media to get the story out, make these folks back down. They only behave like this when there's no eyes watching. Got it? Put some attention on it and put the right lawful and legal responses, you got some things going on. So never say you're not guilty, always say you're innocent. The next thing you want to do is, if you're dealing with a civil matter, make sure that you, how can I say this? If you're a defendant, never position yourself as a defendant. Always position yourself as a respondent, one, or a counterclaimant, or something of that nature, all right? It could be a mortgage case, student loan case, whatever it may be. If it's a criminal case, you want to make sure that you challenge jurisdiction and know how to do that. Now, let me say this. Everybody needs to be nationalized. I just got to say that. First of all, let me backtrack. Because we are shuffling around, and then what happens is you get into a problem, and then you want us to solve it and nationalize you at the same time. And backtrack and do all kinds of magical things and sprinkle all kinds of affidavits on your problem. We're not doing that no more. We're tired of doing it. Study this, what we're saying, and when I say nationality, what I'm saying is you are no longer a second-class citizen. All African Americans are second-class citizens. 1868, 14th Amendment. Psychologically, they treat you like that. Legally, they treat you like that. All right? We need to change that. All right? So, criminal cases, if you have your nationality, you can always challenge jurisdiction. Next, never go to court by yourself. Do not go to court by yourself. Take witnesses with you. Because people disappear. All right? People disappear. Also understand that in most cases, if the judge is doing the talking and the prosecutor is quiet, you're doing the right thing. And you need to understand that you have the infinite ability to ask questions, because most judges try to hold you in contempt. Of course. They'll try to throw you in contempt. You say, sir, ma'am, I just have a question. And pose all of your legal arguments as questions. Because they're not supposed to be prosecuting you. This guy or girl is. And they're not supposed to be litigating from the bench. Follow me? So these little points I'm giving you are just points you can write down. All right? But what we have to have as a construct is Aboriginal jurists in every local jurisdiction who can help our people solve these problems. We have a full course. We can administrate it anywhere in the country. And we can give the necessary information so that our people don't get caught in the legal trap. Now, why is this important to nationality? Because usually what happens to us is we get some type of administrative letter, IRS, collections, whoever it is, or criminal case, and then we go to a court proceeding with their attorneys, and they do just what attorneys do, which is to turn property back over to the state. That's what they do. Attorney, turning property back over to the state, and then what happens? You lose, and then you lose the resources, and those resources are zapped from your home in the form of finances, property, etc. And what happens? It makes your family structure weaker. Y'all start arguing over finance. Next comes the divorce. Next comes the problem. Next comes the breakdown. Next comes the depression. Next comes the beer, liquor, alcohol, weed, mollies. You got it. You got it, right? All because you don't know who you are. We can change that framework by a set of decisions. At least start and then migrate into the position that we want to migrate to. A few other things on police officers before we take some questions and answers. A few questions and answers. Police officers are not lawyers or attorneys. They're not. Don't try to have a legal argument with them. All right? Because it's a lost battle. Most of them are grunts who got beat up when they were younger, and they getting their people beat them up when they were younger back by beating on you. Not all of them, but most of them. They got psychological issues. So they want to use the ability to use excessive force on them. So here's what you do. Police officers, cooperate. Cooperate. Cooperate to the point where you don't compromise jurisdiction. All right? If you're dealing with traffic stops, have your credentials in order. Don't try to come to us and get an aboriginal license and then have 5 warrants. Follow me? It's irresponsible. We're going to do background checks anyway, but if we miss something and you do that, you create a conflict of interest. Now, you got one ID that says John Doe and one ID that says Hakeem Shabazz held Bay to the 3rd power. Follow me? So as we build a jurisdiction, we have to have integrity where we are who we are everywhere. So when an officer sees that, he sees you're intelligent, he sees you're cooperative, he sees you are aware of what he's supposed to be aware of, probable cause, his oath of office, I just want to be cooperative. That's problems. But there are no legal arguments with officers. I need to let you understand. You're not going to be there and say, I'm sovereign, Islam, I'm a Moor. Look at my flags on my card. I want to see a delegation of authority. He's being taught, trained, and programmed right now to identify you as a sovereign citizen and to escalate the situation to another level. And none of us are participating in that patriot ideology. At least we shouldn't be. All right? So let's open the floor for some questions. So if you do want to get out of here on time, I have a train at 10:05. I'm not going to miss it. Questions? Yes, sir. Check.
Can you explain the proper way to handle yourself once you find that you're in that situation of being incarcerated and they want to arraign you, they want to take your personal property in the form of fingerprints and things of that nature?
Yeah. All right, question on the floor is, when you get inside of a court, or not a court, when you get detained, and they want to take your private property from you, which is fingerprints, stuff that you own, except pictures, photographs, etc. Your first statement is, I do not consent to anything that you're doing that requires you to take my private property. Now, they're going to employ terroristic tactics on you, right? So anything that you sign it, all rights reserved. If they try to take your fingerprints, you can say, these are my private property, I don't want to give them up. Their option is going to be probably to put you in a cell for a little while and make you think about it. All right? So don't consent. But if you have to get out, like I was getting out, I said, all right, take them. I don't consent. Because I have already reserved through trust and other documents that that's my private property. And I stated it to them. This only becomes a conflict of interest when you have no nationality. The photos, all those other things. What we're supposed to do is, if we get out, whether we bail out or ROR, after the case is closed, you go back to that township, whatever it is, and you get all of that stuff expunged off of the record, and any information that they have transferred to Interpol, FBI, and other things. Every county has a document of retracting that information back as long as you are found innocent in the case. Okay? So if you haven't been convicted and they went through and they stole all the stuff from you, you can get those things back and retract it off of their databases. Yeah, that's how you solve it. Ultimately, how we solve it is not having an interface with them at all. But temporarily, whatever step that they're taking, because they got cameras recording everything, all right? I do not consent to anything that you're doing. I don't consent to signing. If I'm signing, I'm going to reserve all my rights, and I'm doing this under threat to arrest and coercion. Because you're going to find that they're going to start making jokes about you in jail, but it's all right. You know, they start making jokes about me. You don't want to take the shot? You don't want to do this? You say you're head of state? Ha 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 ha. Oh, it was a joke. It was a good time. I had a good time. It's all good. Now I get to have a good time. Yes, sir.
That document to retract all your information with a certain specific name?
Each county has different names from it. I use the word expungement, but sometimes the word expungement can get confused to a conviction that you had to be taken off. You can call your local pathology and let them know what you're trying to do. I got arrested, or I beat a case, and they took my fingerprints, and I want to get that information off of the county sheriff record. You have a form that allows for that, and procedurally, they're supposed to answer every procedural question. They're not allowed to give you legal advice, but whenever you call down to the county office of municipality, they're supposed to give you procedural advice, and they're supposed to tell you what that form is. So you can go in person or call them, and they should give you that. I thought I had a question over here. Yes, sir. Pop. I don't wait. Because if I wait, I'm going to get caught in a million different responsibilities. Okay, what I did today in court is 2 actions. An omnibus act. Omnibus means you combine acts. I did a notice of removal. I removed it from a township in South Jersey to the federal court in Pennsylvania. Because that means that the prosecutor has to now come in federal court and argue with me, and how I fill out the paperwork is proper to show that it was diversity of citizenship. I'm from a foreign nation, he's from this citizen of this state. Fill that out appropriately so that there's jurisdictional grounds for the federal case not to remand it. Because what they'll do is they'll send it back to the state saying that there's no grounds. But I put all of my documentation to say who I was and my position and my nationality to solve that. I also had an issue where the countersuit itself was for a monetary amount and injunctions. So that's the other part to that. So if you get into a case, you just gotta have your political status and nationality right so you can get out of those little state jurisdictions. Because what those state jurisdictions try to do is tie you down to their little fake statutes, codes, and all these little fake things that they make up. So we need to have those responses, and we need to do them immediately. Don't wait long periods of time. Go file your internal, what do you call it? Whatever you call it. When you file against police officers. What do you call it? Internal? Yeah, internal affairs, reports, do all of those things as your exhibits. And then you can amend your pleadings as you go, and then prepare to go in and be schooled, and come to class and ask questions. Because often, if you're not a national, there's certain things that we can't do. If you are a national, we can do a lot. We can do a lot in the court. If you're not a national, there's not a lot we can do, so give you some advice, try to help you, etc. Because we can't go in and speak for you. Yes, sir.
dealing with the, that's a question. We're dealing with...
2 more questions.
If you are national and you get accosted by these gentlemen, and now you're on a court level and you bring the Constitution honor inside that courtroom and effectively stand on our Constitution in their presence and put that into or index that into your case?
You could do it on the state level to suspend jurisdiction or something like that, but if you're going to make merit arguments, you need to be in the federal court or international court. Because in the federal court, you can use the treaty basis and the international things that pertain to jurisdictional claims. But in the state court, if you get caught in there, you can't really, because there's no grounds for it. You got Article 6 in the Constitution, you got other articles that pertain to international jurisdiction in federal courts to make the arguments. So if I wanted to say, I'm the chief of honor, this is my law system, blah, 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 the officers tried to arrest me, and I can use their constitution, I can use my constitution, I can use international instruments that protect indigenous people, I can use a litany of other things.
But if that's the case with this particular constitution and all of that, do you have to go and use the charter, or does honor have to actually have a charter, like...
What charter?
See how the Magna Carta and the charter for the NYPD?
No, I wouldn't use charters, but I would use whatever is effective to get me the remedy, which is probably to get rid of the case or to get remedy. So I would be using maybe a treaty, maybe some constitutional law as far as articles, maybe some case law in that sense, possibly some international instruments if I'm using them to create an international argument. There's a litany of things that I can use.
I don't want to take up all the time, but I'm talking about what gives us authority. Our authority.
Our authority is based on our political status. So I'll give you an example. When they tried to arrest me, right, they didn't say anything. So a common person could use whatever they wanted to use, basic laws, all right? But as soon as I let them know who I was, which I did on the scene, and how they should be responding, now if they negate the response to that, I can go in their Title 18 and show how they're supposed to respond to certain officials who are not within their jurisdiction, especially when there's no crime has been committed. You see what I'm saying? An average person can't use that because they don't have the political status or the nationality to even make the claim that they're an official from a foreign government or somebody who's a foreign national or something of that nature. You follow me? So every state is supposed to have protections for people who are in other jurisdictions. So because we have formed that jurisdiction, we can use those protections, and the common person who is denationalized can't use those protections. 2 more questions and then we're done.
Quick question. Are you going to conduct any mock court classes coming up soon on when will they?
Okay, question on the floor is, are we going to conduct any mock court trials in the future? That will be up to the nationals, because what happens is, when I come to a class, they give me the format. I don't give them the format. So they tell me. So if we could do some mock trials. We just have to let NZ know, put it on the schedule, and we can do that. We can run some mock trials. I can't answer when I'm going to do it now, but I can affirm that we'll let him know, and then y'all decide here locally if y'all want to do that. Last question.
This is more so in respect to the EIN. I've already bought it from you. You already established it for me. I'm just in the process of trying to properly establish it with the banks in New Jersey. They want a state stamp on it and all this other stuff, and I want to make sure that I use the proper filing, because that's about incorporating. I'm like, hold up, should I go as a foreign corporation? Because if that's the case, they said I need a letter of recommendation from the jurisdiction it was established in. What's the proper process?
Proper process is 1. This is for EINs. If you are non-national and you get an EIN from us, EIN is a registration from the Department of Treasury, is trustee, the IRS, and say you can do business, you get a little EIN number. The next thing that you have is the business articles. That little affidavit that you got emailed to you.
Yes.
You're supposed to get that notarized, 1, on the local level, and then you're supposed to get a seal from your county proprietary. That seal is from either the court or where you are domiciled at?
Because it's an LLC, I can't do it in the county, so I have to do it on the state level.
Okay, but that means that you have to do only thing you have to do is a fictitious name registration, because you don't want to register it unless you have to do like insurance or permits. Fictitious business name registration. Okay, once you get that, you'll get a certificate. It's $25 in New Jersey to get that. And it'll give you a sheet from the state seal that says the name of the business, your name, the date it was formed, etc. Use that form, the articles, and the EIN to take back to the bank. In this sense, this will be sealed in New Jersey.
Yeah.
That was another discussion. County proprietary. If you're dealing with an unincorporated association, which is a type of business that we form, you can get it notarized and you can get the seal from the county proprietary that authenticates it, and you can use that to open a bank account if you have an EIN number. All right, family, we are done. Really quick. If you want tickets, CIC about the summit. The summit will be August 29th at the UN, and then the 30th and the 31st here. You can get those tickets from my seat. Make sure you write your name.